Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching JoJo Part 6, Stone Ocean. Now, when it comes to the JoJo franchise, insanity and wildly creative battles are definitely the series' forte. And when it comes to the sixth part of it, not only is it a first for the franchise, being the first female protagonist for the entire series, but it also happens to have some of the craziest and most wildly insane stand battles you can think of, including everything from having copyrighted characters mixed in to having stands with both automatic and ranged purposes that delve into team battles that you'd think would never be possible, to the creation of an entirely new universe itself. But it still all manages to mix together with a prison break story that feels like it's exactly what Araki would have come up with. Which is to say, anyone who understands how his mind works knows that this would happen. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Jolyne Kujo, voiced in the dub by Kira Buckland, who is arrested for a crime she did not commit, and who ends up in the Green Dolphin Street State Prison, where it turns out that Father Pucci, a longtime follower of Dio, is planning on creating a world beyond heaven just like Dio, but in a way that he believes will benefit all of humanity. So Jolyne has to stop him with the help of a little boy named Emporio, a fellow prisoner named Hermes, another fellow strange creature made out of zooplankton named FF, a guy who's obsessed with her named Anastasia, and a mysterious guy named Weather Report, as they have to escape Green Dolphin State Prison and find a way to defeat Father Pucci and his insane stand Whitesnake. But that's all I'll say about the story. The story here takes 38 episodes to fully come together, but this part, much like the previous JoJo parts, really benefits if you've seen every part of JoJo prior to this point. Because not only is legacy a big part of the series' themes, one of many, but it also happens to really show you the scale of how these stand battles have come over the years. They've started out very simple with the original adventures of Jonathan Joestar, but with Battle Tendency, Stardust Crusaders, Diamond is Unbreakable, and Golden Wind, they've increasingly gotten more and more creative with the different stands and how they're used in battle. And you can see the same thing happening here. Jolene's a great protagonist, not only because of her creative mind and how to use the threads and the body of her Stone Ocean stand, but also because of how well she works alongside other stands with her ability. I wouldn't say she's on Giorno Giovanna's level of being a support character who feels like she's only in the main cast because of how she's related to the Joestar bloodline, but I would say that she's just one great character alongside an entire group of great characters. You've got Hermes, who happens to feel like she's the rudest, but also the most brutal of the women in the series. You have FF, who feels like an interesting case of a non-human character who still manages to generate sympathy from me. There's Weather Report, who I think has my favorite character turn in the entire series later on. And then you have the main antagonist, Father Pucci. And JoJo's villains have ranged from the iconics such as Dio to ones who I felt weren't as impressive as they could have been, such as with Diavolo. But with Father Pucci, I think he plays a perfect foil to the original Dio. On top of being a man of God, he happens to have a stand that messes with people's memories and happens to turn their memories and stands into discs. And a lot of the series is about gaining those discs and putting them right back where they're supposed to be. And on top of that, Pucci's stand's evolutions feel like they go into the overpowered, ridiculous territory that you'd expect from a JoJo villain, all while he happens to preach as much as you'd expect from a man of God to do so. I think he's just really a constant threat, but also at the same time very entertaining when it comes to what he says and how he plans to go about his mission. And on top of that, I really like how the animation goes from motion manga to absolutely insane effects when it comes to the battles that go throughout the series. And that's not even getting to the ending of the series, which I won't spoil, but it's as creative and as out there in terms of tone as you'd expect from Araki. And the way that Poochie's defeated actually makes a whole lot of sense and happens to put Emporio's character in an interesting light when it comes to how he manages to get involved in everything. So, I know that there's 2 parts of JoJo left to animate after this, with Steel Ball Run and JoJo Leon, but as far as Stone Ocean goes, I'd say it's probably my 3rd favorite of all the JoJo parts. It's not my favorite of the bunch, but I definitely think it's a solid addition to the series, and I think that the JoJo fans will be very happy with it. As for an overall rating, I'm probably going to give it a 9 out of 10. See you next time.